So Simple tutorial. Good morning students. Welcome to SST So Simple tutorial. In the previous session we had learned manufacturing industries, its significance, its relationships with agriculture and its contribution to the GDP of the country. Today we are going to discuss location of industries. Students, industrial locations are complex in nature. There are some factors that are assessed in details before starting the industry. These factors are vital for the survival as well as success of any industry. Let us see some important factors that influence the location of industries. We shall first divide them into physical factors and human factors. Okay. In physical factors, first, availability of raw materials. Raw material is a very important factor in deciding the location of an industry. Industries that use heavy and bulky raw materials like coal and steel prefer location near sources of raw materials. This is because the transportation of such materials over long distances is difficult and expensive. Second factor is availability of power. Energy has been a very important input for industries. An uninterrupted supply of power is essential for running machines. Hence, regions rich in power resources are ideal locations for industries. Third is the availability of water. Almost all industries require huge quantities of water, but adequate supply of water at low cost becomes a dominant decisional factor if we are going to select a location for industries like leather, chemical or food processing. So availability of water at site always attracts such industries. Next is suitable climate. Hostile climatic conditions generally deter the prospective entrepreneurs. A moderate climate is ideal for most industries. This is why you can see growing concentration of electronic industry in Bangalore. Let us see now some human factors. First, availability of labor. Industries require both manual, unskilled and skilled workers. Industries that are located in densely populated regions have no problems in assessing unskilled or untrained workers. But skilled or trained people are usually hired from outside the region. Second, availability of market. Markets play an important role in deciding the location of industry. Dear students, production have no value without consumption. For consumption, you need a market because it is the market where buying and selling takes place. An industry cannot be thought of without market. Therefore, you will see that industries tend to clutter around the areas where a market for the manufactured product exists. A good market should be accessible to both the consumers and the industry. Third, availability of transport. Raw materials and finished products both require efficient means of transportation. The region should have a network of well-maintained roads, railways and waterways. A good example is the location of jute industry on river Hooghly. Here, transportation plays a dominant role. This industry benefits from the inexpensive water transport. Apart from these factors, government policy is the most important factor. In order to promote the balanced regional development, the government may offer some incentives like cheaper power, land at cheap rates or tax holidays for few years to attract the entrepreneurs to set up industries in less developed and backward areas. On the other hand, high rates of taxes may discourage some industries from setting up in some other area. Understood? Sometimes the government may set certain restriction in the allocation of land for industries in order to control excessive pollution. So these are the factors for the location of an industry. Student, it is rarely possible to find all these factors available at one place. So the choice of an industry location requires judicious balancing of all the factors affecting location. But the key to decision is always the least cost. Students, urbanization follows industrialization. We have read this in history that whenever industries were set up in an area, people rushed up to that place in search of job opportunities. Thereafter, other business activities also developed there to meet the demands of the factory and the workers. This created still more jobs and demand for housing, and thus it developed into an urban area. But sometimes the industries are set up in cities because cities have their own advantages. Cities not only provide markets to the industry but also provide services like banking, insurance, transport, labor, consultants, and financial advice. So many industries tend to come together to make use of these advantages offered by the cities known as agglomeration economies. Gradually, a large industrial agglomeration takes place. Agglomeration economies in production cause firms to cluster in cities, and this clustering also causes economic growth and development in cities. You can take the example of Gurugram. Initially, only Maruti factory was set up there. Slowly, many manufacturing plants shifted there. Today, it is an attractive location for MNCs. Proximity to Delhi and airport worked in its favor. Gurugram city has witnessed massive development in the past 2 decades. In the pre-independence period, from the point of view of overseas trade, most manufacturing units were located in places like Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, etc. Thus, there emerged certain pockets of industrially developed urban centers surrounded by a huge agricultural rural hinterland. That is all for the class today, students. Let me stop here. Time for probable questions now. 1. Explain the factors which contribute to the location of industries in a region. 2. What is agglomeration economies? So students, now it is your time to read your textbook and prepare answers to these questions. In the next class, we will discuss classification of industries. Till then, keep reading and have a nice time. Thank you.